Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I am starting something that I bought 7 years ago. It's this cute little design and it's for my son's birthday and stuff. But I also had one for my daughter that I finished. Let me see if I can't block out her name. So hers actually had space for her full name here, the day she was born, and the time, and her inches and pounds, and that was the setup of hers. And as you can see, my son's does not have that. So on his thing, it gives you like the boxes or whatever, so you can plan out the words beforehand. His are going to be a little bit cramped, but I did go through and mark out the center box because that was a lot of counting, and now that the center box is done, this should go relatively easy because it's just stripes, and as long as I am able to count with the stripes, I should be fine. But I finally decided that it was probably time to get this done. This is on 14 count Ada, so they have me doing 2 strands. I don't know if you can see that. Come on, focus up. Yep, they have me doing 2 strands. So I loop started the first 2 colors. And each one goes up by 3 and over by 3. Sounds pretty simple. So I still don't have a hoop because, again, I do this all in hand because I find it more enjoyable. And I found just a little bit of time to do this, not a whole lot. My phone has been going off basically nonstop all day today. My camera's blinking red. I'm just having a go at things. So hopefully I can get this to focus in so you guys can see what little bit you'll be able to see. My phone has been going off nonstop today because I had to do a bunch of billing and stuff for my husband's business. So it was just like one thing after another, which is great, but does not make time for videos very easy. And I had to run my mother-in-law, I got a dog hair, to a doctor's appointment today. So I did that. I took the kids to the park early this morning because we really haven't had the chance to do that because at first it was super, super cold. And then it was blazing hot outside for no reason. And it was a stifling, like, high humidity, high 80s by like 9 o'clock every day for the last like week and a half. So it has not been fun for them. It has not been fun for me. Because we've been kind of trapped inside unless we're going swimming or playing in the hose, which, you know, isn't the most fun thing for me to be trying to play in the hose. So we stayed in the air conditioning and we colored and we crafted and that kind of thing. But that also doesn't leave me much time to do my own thing either. So it was just kind of, it is what it was. So today when it was cooler outside, I stepped outside this morning to get the animals some water. And it was like 64 degrees out with low humidity. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're going to take advantage of this. So we went to the park this morning before I had to do my mother-in-law's appointment. And it was so nice to get out of the house and just not be dying of heat stroke as soon as you walk out the door. But yeah, so it went from like cold 60s with a bunch of rain to now blistering hot, no rain, high humidity. The only time it does rain is when it's thunderstorming, knocking down everything. It's been a lot. But hopefully that part of this season is over. 1, there's 2, that's 3. Like I said, I'm still gonna have to count. I'm not very good at trying to keep track of what I'm doing and talking at the same time, which is why I kind of like this pattern, because it's super simple. I can count to 3 over and over and have it be good. Because even like the stripes in the background of this one will be, I think it's either 2s or 3s all the way. And then you got a couple cute little critters on it. Which if you knock the critters out first, which I will be doing after I get this border around, knock the critters out first, and then you know exactly where your stripes are going to go, and it should go relatively fast. And this is a smaller canvas. I don't know how big it is, but I normally don't work on 14 count. I normally do 11. I don't even know what my daughter's was. I think hers was 11 too. Or not 11, 14. But yeah, that was me getting back into cross stitching like forever ago. And you know, it's super easy to do it when you have one child, and it really is what they say, when you have the second one, stuff tends to fly out the window as far as like crafting and hobbies until they get a little bit older. And now they're reaching that point where they're a little bit more independent, like not super independent or anything, but more independent than what I don't need to baby them, I guess. Make them food, make sure that they don't get hurt and they can't go outside by themselves. That's basically what we got going on. But now I can actually start getting back into my hobbies, and it's like I'm trying to do as much of them as possible. And I have been really bad at hobby hopping, which is basically like you start a hobby, you get all the things for the hobby, you do the hobby for a while, and then you start a new one, you do the same thing. But then you always end up coming back. And I'm now cycling back through all of my hobbies. So this was like the first hobby that I got back after I had my kids. And I feel like that one's not going to be 3. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3, right? 1, 2, 3. I'm 1 too far. I think I'm going to park this guy right here. Mostly because there's an owl that happens around in this corner, and I don't want to accidentally get in its way. This one I'm going to go the opposite direction here. Opposite way. Like that, and then go up. That's a really light color. So that way I can follow the green. But yeah, so I am cycling back through hobbies, which is a good thing. So my stuff is getting used. I dropped my stuff off to the blueberry patch on the 14th, so I've been trying to get a couple more things for that done. And then, you know, I've been getting back into reading and stuff. It's kind of funny because, like, I never used to consider, like, reading a hobby. And then I started getting back into it, and I'm like, nope, this is definitely one of my hobbies because I go in full-fledged cycles just like everything else. So, yeah, basically I get all the stuff and I'll stick with it for a couple months, a year, whatever, however much I'm enjoying it. And then I'll put it down and I won't think about it forever. And then magically I come back to it in some kind of time frame, and then everything's there and I just pick it up and keep going. So definitely a real big hobby hopper. But that's okay as long as I can get a couple things here and there finished and actually have them be finished. I don't see the problem with hopping around. Because I always cycle back, so that, and it makes it really hard because if you're new, I'm going through a renovation, so everything is just all, nothing is where it's supposed to be and everything is where it shouldn't be. And it has not been that long, but I mean, I can definitely see how this puts a strain on people, because sometimes it can be very stressful trying to find something and it's packed away because you can't have it out right now. So this I knew I had for a long time. Like I said, I've had it for many, many years, and I never started it up until like last week, and then I was I got the dash lines in. I was like, you know, you guys might like to see me do it. Because it is small, I should be able to make quite a bit of progress on it really quickly. So that would make it like a really nice, easy finish. Especially with those, the other cross stitches being so big. The frog and the bear are both about the same size, and they are the biggest ones that I've ever attempted. So that definitely is something I look forward to doing, and I made great progress with the frog, not great progress with the bear, and I've been making slow and steady progress on my sister-in-law's bee one. So, really trying hard to get this to lock in. There we go. And then it'll change its mind. Don't you worry. I also have an alarm set for my garden because I'm watering my garden, which I was giving it extra time because it's been this last week has been super, super dry. So as to not forget about it, because I did do that earlier last week before, I don't know. It was like super hot, like in the 90s. It was like 95 degrees. I went outside, I turned the hose on, put the sprinkler in the garden, and then forgot about it for like an hour and a half. And I was in the kitchen doing dishes, and I happened to look outside, and the hose was still going, the sprinkler, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just flooded half of my garden, because the sprinkler only reaches half my garden at a time, of course. So then I went out there, and it wasn't really like flooded. She was wet, but she wasn't flooded. And I went, and I had kind of run outside without my phone, whatever, because that's how I set my timer. And I moved the hose, and I'm like, okay, I need to go inside and set a timer. And if you think I went inside and set that timer, nope, got distracted with the dishes again. So, needless to say, the garden got lots of water. No, I did not ruin anything. No, nothing was destroyed. It just made it very, very wet. And I'm thinking the plants were very happy. My lettuce we had cut down to like absolutely nothing for the 4th of July on the 2nd. And today is the 7th. So how many days is that? Or wait. No, we cut that on the 3rd. So it's only been 4 days, and that lettuce grew back like nothing ever happened to it. And I would like to think it's because I overwatered it. Because that was the day after I had harvested it all that I forgot about the hose. So I'm thinking it probably helped it, especially with it being that hot out, that I didn't only water it a little bit. You know, one of those things. And I do need to get, I don't have needle minders, but I have what I consider my needle minders. They're just magnets. They're little baby magnets that I like to stick on here. But for now, I'm just sticking it through a little bit in a place out of the way. Oh, see, there's my phone. I'll be right back. Okay, so as you can see, I moved along quite fast. I ended up getting that phone call and had to do some stuff for work, so I didn't get to work on this again until later in the night, and by that point I had already put away my camera and the stand and everything else, so I worked on it by myself in my chair. So today is the day that this is supposed to be up. As you can see, that didn't happen. Sometimes life gets in the way. That's fine with me. So we're back at it. My kids are with my mom at the beach today. So I decided to take advantage of them being out having fun. And, let's see, that's 1, 2, 3. Take advantage of them out being out having fun. And so yeah, that's what I'm gonna do this. I have already went to my workout class this morning at 5:30, and then I came home, got my kids their breakfast, and then got them packed up and ready, picked up my niece and my nephew, dropped them all off at my mom's house, and came back. Well, then I went grocery shopping because everybody loves it when you don't have to take your kids grocery shopping. Makes it a lot easier and sometimes faster. Mine, not so much. I'm usually faster with the kids because I won't browse the aisles. It's more of a get in, get out. And it's not because they're bad. It's just, I don't want to sit there and, when are we leaving? When are we leaving? You know. So I took full advantage of them being gone in that way too. And then I already got my invoicing done for my husband today. So I thought to myself, hey, why not finish this video up and hopefully get it up for, what would that be, Friday? Saturday? I don't know. I get my two schedules confused because I have two different channels, and the schedule seems to bleed into one another, and I did not get the video done for my other channel either because life has just been super, super busy, so, you know, and YouTube's not very forgiving, so you miss one or two uploads, and you're basically starting back at square one trying to find people. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. And this one is straight across. There's going to be a little, this part right here is part of the snail shell, and then this is part of the turtle shell, and the turtle's head comes up this way. So far I'm actually liking the colors and the design. It's really easy to follow too. Which makes it a lot nicer. Okay. And then we're gonna go another 3. Don't mind my belly, it's a little upset. There's 3. So it's grumbling and growling, but not because I'm hungry. It's growling because it's angry. I don't know what I ate to make it so angry, but I ate something that made it angry. So this morning, when I got up to go, I ended up getting a filter for my daughter's crayfish, which she got from, she asked if she could bring it home. It was a science experiment in school. So of course I was like, sure, because my in-laws have a turtle. Figured I could just throw it in with the turtle, right? They're already taking care of a turtle. What's a crayfish? No, turtles eat crayfish. So now I have this crayfish living in my house. And she's in like a 1-gallon tank, which I'm going to have to upgrade her after we get through like the renovation. So that way I actually have some place to put her, because right now, sorry, I didn't realize I was out of frame there. Right now, I just don't really have a spot for her to go. But we're planning on upgrading her to a 5-gallon tank after. And I bought a filter that's good for 1 to 5 gallons. And while the tank, you're not able to put the lid on all the way when you have a filter in it, which, poor design. But this morning I went upstairs and I seen something like larger and black in the sink before I turned on the light, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh no. Just kind of thinking the worst. I flicked it on and it ended up being her crayfish in the sink. It had gotten out of its tank and ended up falling into the sink's basin. Which, best case scenario, because if it would have been on the floor, I probably would have stepped on it. Because, you know, you just walk in not expecting to step on anything. Especially when it's something that you didn't leave on the floor, if that makes sense. Anyway, so I had to, I'm kind of grossed out by it. So I had to go downstairs and get a throwaway cup, and I scooped her up in it and put her back in the tank. Luckily, she was still alive, because I had to look up, like, how long can they go without being in water? And it turns out it's only a couple hours. So I guess it was a really good thing that I was getting up early for class today, and that I didn't decide to go back to bed like I wanted to. But yeah, you know, so I told my husband, I was like, just so you know, the crayfish was out of the tank. And if she happens to get out again, don't be like walking in the bathroom without first making sure she's not on the floor, because I don't want you to step on her. Just in case she did get out again, because I feel like once it gets out one time, it can get out more. Well, when I got home, I scooched the filter down further. And I scooched down the filter so it was closer to the rocks. And then I took off some of the water in hopes that she could not make it back out. But I was happy to see that she was alive. Was not happy that I had to figure out how to catch her this morning, though. I don't give myself much time to get ready and get out the door in the morning. It's kind of like if there's a big enough hiccup, I'm not making it to class on time. And I do that because I really like my sleep. And I don't want to disrupt my sleep that much. So I give myself like 15 minutes. Not even. It's actually less than that. But 15's like the maximum amount of time before there starts to be problems created by being late. And this fiasco set me back like an extra 5 minutes. So I was like rushing to get out the door. So, but I was glad she was safe. And like I said, I drained off some of the water when I got home. So hopefully she can't escape again. Come to find out, because I was watching her later, come to find out she actually used the rock that we have in there for her to hide under, got on the tippiest top of her little legs, and wrapped her legs around the edge of the tank, and then used the lid that wasn't all the way on, because obviously we can't have it all the way on with her in there with the filter. And hold on, 1, 2, there's 3. And used the edge of the tank and then the lid of the tank to propel herself forward enough to get enough momentum just to kind of pop herself out of the tank. And I'm over here like, crayfish don't see well. I haven't really seen her swim, but from what I can see, they're not great swimmers either. So how she was able to like flick herself up and get out, I was impressed. But that just goes to show, like, once we get her the bigger tank, we'll definitely need to get a tank with a cover, which I really didn't think I'd have to do with a crayfish. Like, that's just crazy to me. I can see how, like, a fish would pop out of the water, or a turtle, or, you know, an aquatic. They swim backwards. They swim with their tails, and they go like this. They go bloop, bloop, bloop. And it's backwards. They swim backwards. And so I really did not think that she would be able to get out. Just crazy to me. Just crazy. And she really does enjoy the running water where the filter's sitting. She now sits right underneath that area and just lets the water splash, like, filter down on top of her. She really likes that. I'm sure that's probably why she wanted out in the first place, was, you know, she was swimming up toward the water that was coming out, and maybe she just decided it was time to escape. I don't know. I don't claim to know what goes around in their heads. But regardless, she made me panic, because once I realized it was her, I thought she was dead, because they only last like a couple hours outside of the water. Knowing my luck, you know, I had just bought the filter, just moved the tank, because I had it, you know, good thing we did move it, because I had it sitting on the back of my toilet downstairs, because it kind of reminded my daughter to feed her every day, because she has to go in there to brush her teeth. That, and I didn't really want the crayfish on, like, my There wasn't enough room on their vanity. I didn't want it upstairs on my vanity either, which is where she's at now. But also I didn't want her like on my kitchen counters, and I don't really have enough room for like tables and stuff for her to be on. So that's where she ended up, was the back of the toilet, which I'm very glad, very happy now that I decided to move her to the vanity upstairs in my bathroom, because otherwise she would have either fell on the floor and probably would have been crushed because nobody would have been looking for her on the floor, or, hold on, or she would have fallen in the toilet, which also not a very good place for her to be. So yeah, best case scenario, I moved her preemptively thinking that because it wasn't closed all the way, she had the potential of getting out. She got out. Good thing it was in her sink and not in the toilet or on the floor. But yeah, so she hasn't made another escape. So I think I brought the water level down enough, because obviously with the filter I can't have it too low. But yeah, I'm right. Yeah, that was my adventure today. And it's very, very cute because she was partnered up with another girl in her class, and they named her Rosie Rosebush and then combined their two last names. So it was very cute. So, and then we also got the big pond up and running for our ducks. So I've been trying to teach them. They don't really like people to hold them. My chickens love when I hold them, but my ducks, not so much. But they wouldn't go up like the wooden ramp on their own. So I've now showed them 3 times and they're getting the hang of it now, but I have to catch them every single time. And they don't like me picking them up. But there's really no other way to teach them, like, hey, this is how you get in and out. And they still don't really get out correctly, because we have it to where the wood ramp is also partially inside the pond to help them get out. Well, that was a stutter. And needless to say, they don't use that very well. They kind of just propel themselves off the side, which we're planning on doing like a deck and everything on it once we get it where we need it. This is just like a temporary thing while it's hot outside to get them that big pool, because I was filling up their little pool like 2 times a day, and it was too much. Because they are now big ducks, and big ducks need a bigger pool. So we did that. And they've been enjoying the big pool, big pond, which is nice to see, knowing that our efforts will be greatly appreciated when they can figure out the deck, or not the deck, the ramp. When they can figure out the ramp and they can go up it themselves, and I don't need to catch them, every time. Where am I at here? Yes, I will do 3. Okay. I'm really trying to make this as simple as possible. But there's there's a flower there. It's different colors. There's like 1 row of green, so I'm just going to finish off this blue, because there's 3 rows of that. I can do that 1 line of green and then do the next set of green as well. But yeah, so I'm actually really, really liking how this pattern is turning out. I wasn't sure. I mean, the front was always cute, but sometimes, like, the colors don't necessarily match as well. On the, the floss doesn't match the cover very well. But I think this actually matches pretty darn good. So hopefully, it keeps turning out that cute. It's got a lot of bright colors to it, so I hope it's cute. I'm usually more of a person who likes like muted colors, but with children things, you tend to get like the brighter colors. Okay. And I did have to move the snail's antenna. It was supposed to be like over one more, but because I had to put the date that he was born, I had to move it over because there is like back stitching on that part, and there's also, you know, the words will be, or the numbers for his birthday will be back stitched. So I didn't want them running into one another. Okay, so then right there. And I think that'll be the last full square of blue, 3x3, right here. Yes. And then it'll go, because there's a little caterpillar in this corner, so it kind of tapers off again. Yes, I am correct. This one only has one row, right? One row. And then one down at the bottom. Or I guess it's not really the bottom. It just kind of, it's an L shape. I'm going to play some Tetris as an L shape. So you guys will have to let me know if there's any shows on Netflix that you've been getting into. I was thinking about rewatching You, because the Joe Goldberg prequel, so for You, it's Joe Goldberg, and it follows him through, like, him murking women. Anyway, so she just came out with the prequel to all the You books, and I've been listening to it on Spotify, which it's okay. It's not as good as her other books, which, like, I tried listening to the ones that were written from Guinevere Beck's point of view. I tried. I didn't really care for them, and I don't know if, like, I just didn't get into them or what. But I didn't make it very far before I was like, this is a waste of my audiobook time, and I was just kind of done listening to it. And then this one's okay. It's a little bit different than, you know, how she wrote the actual books. But at the same time, like, come on, focus back in. Here we go. It's not bad either. But honestly, if I had to choose between the books and the show, I honestly, for that one, would probably pick the shows. I enjoyed them a lot more than the books, which I didn't even read the last one in the You series. I have it, but at the same time, the new series, like the new season had came out. So I quit reading after the third book because the next season had came out, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna watch the show. And so that's what I did, because by the time it came out, I had to rewatch all the show because the show is a lot different than the book. And so because of that, I had to, rewatch the show. So then, now I'm sitting here thinking, I'd be able to pick back up the books, but they just kind of clouded together, the book and the movie, like the TV show. So I was getting things confused. So it's something that I'm going to have to read all of the books again, which isn't a huge deal to me. I don't mind doing that. But, yeah, so I just, with the prequel that just came out, it kind of makes me want to rewatch the shows. It doesn't really make me want to reread the books yet. But I'm sure, like, if I start watching it, I'll get that urge to reread, so that way I can finish off the last book, because like I said, they're quite different. Okay, and then I think there's the blue patch is a whole patch, and then that one is also a whole patch of green. So we're just going to skip over to here. There's not much of the green or the blue left, but we'll start in on the blue again. Okay. But yeah, so I've been reading Half-Blood by, I don't know her first name, but her last name is Armentrout. And it's one of those, I think it was written more for young adults than adults, which is fine with me. You can just kind of tell exactly where it's going the entire time, which is fine. Makes for an easy read on my part. But after that one, I think I'm going to read the next one in the series at the same time that I'm going to be reading Dungeon Crawler Carl, because I've had this one now for a few months and have not... I have it sitting on my nightstand, but I haven't started it yet because I feel like there's so much hype around it right now. Come on, focus in. There we go. There's so much hype around it, and I'm so worried like it's not going to live up to the hype. So it's just kind of sat there. And I mean, when I had went into Barnes & Noble, I had never even heard of Dungeon Crawler Carl or anything like that. And I started seeing it up on, I think it was Instagram, and it seemed like wacky and something I would, enjoy reading because I enjoy video games and that kind of thing. And so when I went into Barnes & Noble, mind you, I went from hearing nothing about this to seeing it everywhere. And everybody was like, oh my God, it's so great. And when I went into Barnes & Noble to get it, there's like a ton of books to this series. And I never heard of it until, it was up on Instagram and stuff. So it's like, is it all just hype or is it actually good? I'm trying to find Come on. There. So I'm hoping that it's not just hype and that it's actually like a good book. It'd be nice if it was actually a good book. But it worries me with how much of a following it has. And like Barnes & Noble had an entire full-on setup for this book. So I was like, you know, it might just be hype. Could just be hype. Because in the end, Barnes & Noble is a business, and they will, if that's what's big, they'll make a big display, and, you know, I don't know where that cut off. But anyway, so I'm hoping that the book is actually good. And not just, you know, all hype, whatever. And I think that's the only reason why I haven't really picked it up yet. Oh, and I've pulled that out. I don't know. Oh, that'd be why. I was like, man, I felt like I had enough, and I do. Let's see if I can't get this to restring nicely. Probably not. Don't mind my dirty pants. Oh, come on. There we go. Can get a couple more stitches out of that one. Maybe at least 2 or 3. So I don't want to give it up just yet. So that was 1 stitch. Probably just 2. We'll do 2 stitches. And then thread it through the back. There we go. So thread that through the back. Alright. Come on. Why this has to be such a pain. There we go. Let me get my old scissors. They still work wonderful though. I tell you, they don't make scissors like this anymore. These are wonderful scissors. But yeah, so we just did all these lines here. There's not much more to go on it, but I'm going to call this quits for the video for now. I will go up and see maybe if I can't get this little snail guy done. And if I can get the snail done before my kids get home, I may film the next part and maybe we could do the turtle together, because the turtle is pretty one colored, so it'd be easy to do on camera. But yeah, and I'm not gonna fill out any of my son's information until I'm completely done, and then you guys get to see the whole finished product except for his name. I can always cover up his name or just not put it on, so that way, I mean, you'll see his birth weight and birth date and stuff like that, but I don't know how much you'd get, how much information you could get off that, but yeah, so that's this so far, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Bye.